Hello, welcome to my vlog. In this vlog, I will be reading The Paris Apartment, The House Across the Lake, and The Mary Shelley Club. So two of my most anticipated reads for the year, and then The Mary Shelley Club, which is a YA book that I've heard great things about. So I hope you enjoy the video and let's just get into it. Hello, so I am coming here to start my vlog for reading The Paris Apartment. I don't have the cover on it right now, but it's this really pretty Book of the Month edition. I love how Book of the Month has this little reminder of what month you got it in, so this was the March pick for me. I also got the Book of Accidents. But I started reading this last night, and I want to say I was immediately gripped. Like from page 1, I was gripped. It has a really good atmosphere so far. It's giving me Lock Every Door vibes, which if you don't know, I'm obsessed with Lock Every Door. It's my second favorite Riley Sager, but honestly, Lock Every Door and Home Before Dark are pretty much tied for me. I really love both of those. I'm really pumped for this one because if you don't know, I am so obsessed with The Guest List. I love that book so much. I read it on audiobook, and honestly, that book was one of the reasons why I've gotten into audiobooks because it's a full cast, and this one is a full cast so far, which makes me so happy. So I'm loving how this one has such short chapters too. I only read about 25 pages last night because I started reading it at like 3 a.m. And I felt like I accomplished stuff because I already have gotten through so many chapters because there's different POVs and some of the chapters are like a page and a half. So that's really fun. It really helps me feel like I'm progressing, and I'm hoping to tackle a lot more of this book tonight and read it as fast as possible. I've been in a bit of a reading slump lately, and it's probably due to a lot of different things, but I really want to get out of this reading slump and read a lot more because I try not to base everything on my reading challenge because you should just read to enjoy stuff, but also I really do want to meet my reading challenge, which is 100 books this year. Oh my gosh, sorry, this camera is like really close to my face. Anyway, I'm a little bit behind on my challenge and I want to read more books. I also am house sitting this week, so if you notice the different background, that's why. And I just got out of a bath. My hair's all wet and my face is probably a little bit red because I was in very warm water. I always do that to myself. I make the water probably like way too warm. But yeah, I had a bath bomb in there. I actually used this peach bath bomb. It was really cute. It was defective, and the store near my coffee shop actually just gave it to us for free. They had some defective bath bombs from Lush, and they just gave it to us, which was super nice. So I don't have a bath at my house, but there is a bath at my parents' house, which I'm at right now. So I'll be reading more. I'll keep you all updated. And yeah, I'm really enjoying this one so far. So I am reading The Paris Apartment as I'm doing sprints with Cami. And I am currently house sitting for my parents and watching the kitties. Here is one of them, super cute. He's lying by me as I read. He just curled up. I'm reading Paris Apartment, and it's been really nice doing sprints tonight. Actually, a lot of people on these sprints are reading The Paris Apartment, which is awesome. It's kind of like an unofficial buddy read. But anyway, this one started out really fast-paced, but kind of slowed down a little bit more than what I was hoping for. I still am intrigued by the story, but I'm waiting for this to pick up pace because that's something I really loved about The Guest List. It was super fast paced. But I'm still, of course, really enjoying the audiobook because it's a full cast and I love this apartment setting. And she actually went down into the cellar, which was a creepy, fun little scene there. So I enjoyed that scene. But yeah, that's my update for the Paris apartment. I'm on page 88, so I'm hoping I'll read some more tonight. And I'm also sort of in the mood for watching a horror movie. And I was just talking with Cami about The Orphan, and I've actually never seen The Orphan, so I may actually watch that tonight. So we'll see. So I wanted to give a little bit of a reading update. So I am currently on page, let's see, I can't actually remember. I'm on page 234. It is 3 a.m. in the morning, super late. I just stay up way too late and I'm trying to get in a better sleeping pattern and fix my sleeping habits, but unfortunately, I've been staying up till 3 a.m. like almost every night. I've listened to a ton of this book, more than 100 pages tonight, probably more around 130 to 150 pages tonight. And I was sort of feeling a little discouraged when I was reading it before because, like I said in my first vlog clips, I was really, really loving the tense atmosphere from the very beginning. But then I felt like it just sort of dulled out and it just wasn't very interesting to me. It didn't have that very amazing setting, that sort of isolated setting that the guest list has, especially, but also the hunting party. So I was bummed by that, and I felt like there wasn't enough drama going on between the characters and their relationships, which is something I really enjoy in Lucy Foley's writing from her previous novels. So I was a little bit disappointed, and I sort of was in a bit of a slump, and I couldn't really make myself read for a few days. So I finally decided to listen more tonight. And I will say I am enjoying it more. However, it's not impressing me. And I just feel like the atmosphere isn't great. It's not leaned into as much as it could be in this apartment building. And one of the twists sort of has been revealed. And I can't say what it is without going into spoilers. But it was kind of like, didn't really like that twist. I didn't see it coming, but I didn't like the twist. And so I want to try to finish this tomorrow, and I don't know, I hope I like how it ends. I just feel like I'm really disappointed by this one, and I thought that I would have liked this one. I thought that I was gonna like this one way more than The Hunting Party, because I did feel pretty disappointed by The Hunting Party after I read the guest list, because they were so similar, and it almost felt like I was reading the same novel, but in a different setting. But honestly, I think I like The Hunting Party more than this one, and I'm really surprised by that. And I feel like she made this one feel different because she probably got that critique a lot, that The Hunting Party and the guest list seemed like a very, almost the same novel, because they're both about reunions from, friends from the past. College is involved, and they're both in isolated settings. One's on this remote island where a wedding's happening, and the other is a snowstorm. But I don't know, I'm just feeling kind of disappointed, and I feel like it's a mixed bag of what people are thinking of this book. I heard that some people really, really loved it, and then I've been hearing a lot of people saying they're having a hard time getting through it. So that's my update. Hopefully I'll finish it soon and have some more cohesive thoughts. But yeah, that is kind of my update for my reading. A little bit of a life update. I went out with my friend the other night for St. Patrick's Day, which was really, really fun. We got some drinks at this cocktail bar that was really, really pretty and aesthetic inside. And then we ended up going to this sort of arcade bar. It was really fun. They had pinball machines and kind of vintage arcade games and stuff. So that was really, really fun. And I actually went back there tonight with my husband, which was really, really fun to bring him there. And yeah, so I've been doing some fun stuff. I worked all day, unfortunately. I work almost every Saturday, but that's a little life update for me. And hopefully I will finish this one soon and move on to the Book of Cold Cases. And I really, really hope I like that one much more than this one, because it's kind of been putting me into a slump and I really do want to know what's happening, and it has picked up a lot. But especially in the first 100 pages, I just really, really didn't care what was going on, and it kind of put me in a slump. Hey, so my phone's actually charging right now, so I'm literally sitting on my floor in the middle of my living room. But I realized I never filmed a wrap-up talking about my final thoughts on the Paris apartment, and so I wanted to do so now. And I actually just was watching both the live shows for the Literally Dead book club as well as the book troupe, and I was really enjoying hearing everybody's thoughts on those lives, so I'll link them below. Anyway, I wanted to say I ended up giving this only 2.5 stars because I was so freaking disappointed. So basically, I thought this book dragged so much. I did really love it in the beginning for like the first 30 pages. I thought the tension was great. It totally felt like that atmosphere. Not the exact same atmosphere, obviously, but it felt like that really gripping writing, like the guest list, which I really loved. But it just fizzled down and it was so slow. It was so boring for me. I thought that the chapters, I originally liked how short they were, but they were just too short in my opinion later on. It was like just one little clip-it of one chapter and then immediately we'd move on to the next chapter. I thought there was too many characters and I wasn't invested in any of the characters. And just as reveals were happening, I was not interested, or I just thought they were super disappointed. And yeah, I don't know what to say. So much of this book I feel like I've already forgotten, and I only read it a couple weeks ago, and I do sometimes forget things in books, but usually not this fast. And I already am thinking like, what even happened in that book? Because my experience reading it, unfortunately, was just not fun, and I felt like I had to force myself to get through it because I really wanted to know what happened. So one of the first reveals that was sort of revealed early on about kind of how the people in the apartment building are connected to one another, I just didn't like. I didn't like the direction it went. And I know that maybe this wouldn't bother other people, but I just really didn't like that twist, and it ended up making it just even more boring for me. So that's kind of my wrap up for this one. It definitely read way more like a mystery, not like a thriller. I felt like even though, you know, her brother was missing, the stakes just didn't feel high, and the drama in this one just wasn't as intense as the guest list or the hunting party. And so I rated this 2.5 stars. I really didn't like it, and I'm so disappointed because I felt like the whole atmosphere could have been really leaned into more. This was called the Paris apartment, and I feel like it didn't even feel that Parisian to me, in my opinion. And I felt like just it missed out on so many things. Like this whole premise and atmosphere could have been done so much better. So I know some people really love this book though, and then other people really hated it. So I feel like it's a super divisive book. So I feel like you're either gonna love it or you're gonna hate it. So that's my wrap up of the Paris apartment. And yeah, I hope that Lucy Foley's next book is just as good as the guest list, because you know, I loved the guest list, and I also thought the hunting party was pretty good too. So I don't know why this one just did not work for me, but it just didn't. Hello. Okay, this is so exciting. I'm gonna sit down. Sorry for the shaky camera. I am starting my Riley Sager The House Across the Lake vlog. So I guess this is just like a portion of my vlog, but I'm starting to read it. I started it last night, and if you don't know what it's about, it is basically about this woman who is living at this lake. She's dealing with grieving the death of her husband who drowned in the lake, and she drinks a ton to try to cope, and basically she has a view of this mansion across the lake, and there is this former model who lives there, and she's super famous, and she decides one day to kind of start watching her and her husband, and she witnesses something, and she tries to figure out if what she saw was real or not. And I got an arc of this, and I'm so excited that I have an arc. I couldn't believe it, actually. And I had actually been kind of putting off reading it because I'm nervous. I've loved all of Riley Sager's work. I know that there are some flaws in his writing, of course, but I really love Riley Sager, love his writing, love his books. Some of my all-time favorite books of his are, you can see in the background, Home Before Dark, as well as Lock Every Door. Absolutely love those books so much. So I was a little bit nervous because I want this to be just as good. And so I finally decided to pick it up, and I'll let you know my thoughts so far. So my thoughts so far are, it has an interesting setup. It doesn't feel paranormal at all, which is a bit of a bummer, but I kind of knew that it wouldn't be paranormal. And I actually read a lot of it this morning really early, which was super surprising for me because I usually stay up super late, so I don't get up early in the morning. But I actually read early in the morning, and it was so nice. I had my coffee. It was quite a rainy day, and I just enjoyed reading this, and it was perfect. I don't know, for the atmosphere of the book, it just felt like a really perfect atmosphere because it starts and it's all foggy and cloudy and kind of a dreary day, and so I felt like it really fit the atmosphere of the book. I'm reading it, and I think she's about to witness the main sort of event because she has her binoculars and she's watching the neighbors. So my thoughts so far are, I'm intrigued. Of course, his writing style always hooks me in, and I am going to have my reading sprints tonight and hopefully make quite a bit of progress. Hello, so I am actually currently doing my reading sprints right now. You can kind of see I like changing up the color of the lights up here. I choose a different I choose a different color every week. But yeah, I wanted to give you an update on my thoughts of The House Across the Lake. So I've gotten to 32%. I keep writing down on this little sheet of paper how far I get in each sprint. And I was really surprised. This is kind of a slow burn Riley Sager book. I feel like most of his books are way more straight into the action, but this one was really kind of slow burn, setting the atmosphere. You really feel like you're there on the lake, kind of feeling the atmosphere along with the main character, and also observing the house along with her, which I really enjoy. Like I always say, Riley Sager is just an expert at creating atmosphere. And yeah, that's my biggest thoughts so far are the atmosphere is really great. It's less scary or intense, I would say, than his other books, but I'm still very intrigued. The main character has a drinking problem, so I will say I sort of foresee some people getting really annoyed by kind of the repetition of how, you know, her drinking problem is talked about like all the time, but I don't really mind it because it makes sense for the character. This is sort of how I felt about actually the character in Survive the Night, where everyone was getting really frustrated with that character for some of the decisions she was making. I understand their frustration, but I sort of got from the storyline why the character was behaving that way. So I feel the same in this one. I do know that like this could bother some people. So that's just sort of a quick warning. If that kind of thing bothers you, then maybe this book isn't for you. But I'm still really enjoying it. I'm definitely not enjoying it as much as some of his other books, which I kind of was expecting. I don't know. I kind of knew that this would just not have a paranormal vibe. And the books that I've liked the most from him are Lock Every Door and Home Before Dark, which both really lean into that paranormal kind of atmosphere. But yeah, I am still really enjoying it. I still am only 32%, in, so there's still a lot that could happen. And I do love that there's a little bit of a dual timeline. It's not even that big of an aspect in the story, but it starts kind of in the future with this present time, and then, you know, it goes back to leading up to the events of the present timeline. So yeah, that's my update. Oh my gosh, so Riley Sager did something that I really, really love when authors do, where they connect their books in just like little ways. So one of the characters in this basically lives in an apartment building, and they mentioned that it was near the Bartholomew. And if you have red lock every door, you'll know that this is a reference to that book. So I just thought that was fun, that was like a little inclusion of one of his other books in this book that he is writing now. All right, so I found this creepy lake ambiance, and how perfect is this for the house across the lake? Like, everything about this is amazing. It totally fits the whole entire aesthetic for the book, because it's about, obviously, this character watching across this lake to this other house, and obviously this house doesn't look the same, but it still is so perfect. So I'm so excited. I'm about halfway through, so I'm gonna hopefully get much farther tonight in the book. Hello, so I'm currently on my weekly reading sprints, and I finished The House Across the Lake. So I'm going to give you a quick update of my thoughts and kind of what I'm gonna rate this book. First of all, I want to say, unfortunately, I think this is my least favorite Riley Sager book. I've never rated any of his books under 4 stars, and I think this one is going to be a 3.5, which just hurts my heart a little bit because I had so much hopes for this one. But I think where Riley Sager shines the most in his writing is when he incorporates Gothic elements, and this didn't have that, so I knew it wasn't going to be one of my top favorite books by him. And it just didn't have that urgency that Survive the Night had, that kind of fast-paced, tense feeling where you really, really wanted to quite literally survive the night as you read it. And then it didn't have that fun, you know, slasher element like Final Girls did with all those flashbacks that I loved. That was a big reason that I enjoyed Final Girls. I loved the flashbacks in it. And then The Last Time I Lied, I mean, it was a wonderful mystery. The summer camp setting was amazing. So for this one, it just was lacking something, unfortunately, and it almost put me in a reading slump only because I was disappointed that I wasn't obsessed with it, you know? And so I think it did a few things really well though. So first of all, some of these twists I would have never guessed, particularly one of them. So I was on Goodreads before I started reading, and I saw someone write, "You don't know what kind of book this is. You think it's one thing and it turns into something else." And I was like, okay, I can see him having a huge twist, but it's so true. There's a twist that came in here, I think it was around the 70% mark, and I was shook. I was like, what? I had to keep reading, and the pace really, really picked up from there. So I will say, I thought the twist was pretty good. I didn't love it, but I still liked that he went there with this book. Because in the first half, or a little more than half, you think you know what's going on, and it's just, it missed something, you know? I felt like I kind of had read a book like it before. It reminded me a lot of The Woman in the Window, just the whole premise of watching the neighbors and kind of slowly watching things unfold. And it really, really focused on the character's alcoholism, and I felt like that was a little bit repetitive for me personally. And there were some really good twists in here though. Riley Sager always does do good twists. There was just, the twist that happened was so out there that it was a little bit, I hate to say unbelievable, because like, I don't always need my twist to be believable, but it was a certain twist. It was a choice for sure. This definitely still felt like a thriller though. Didn't feel like a horror novel, even though the twist, see, I don't want to give it away, but the twist was surprising to be found in a thriller. Let's just say it that way. So yeah, I think I'm gonna rate this 3.5 stars, and it's probably my lowest rated Riley Sager, and my hope is that he just goes back to Gothic writing. I really, really want that Gothic atmosphere. I just think, you know, is it paranormal, is it not? That is what he just succeeds in the most, and I'm obsessed with it. And I really hope he kind of returns to that. And he might, you know, maybe a lot of people will give feedback that they kind of didn't like this book very much. So that's my thoughts on Survive the Night. Sorry, not Survive the Night. What am I saying? The House Across the Lake. I also think part of it too was I read it over too long of a span of time. Like, it was just taking me too long to get through. And usually I binge his books. This didn't have a bingeable quality. The stakes didn't feel as high, and it was just too slow burn for me. So I'm sad because my two most anticipated books for the year were not 5 stars, and they weren't even 4 stars. This one I definitely liked way more than The Paris Apartment, like 100%. I still love Riley Sager's writing. I'll still continue to buy his books, and yeah, I still liked this one, but it was disappointing. I'm not gonna lie, like, it was disappointing. And then The Paris Apartment, of course, was very disappointing. You heard everything I said in the wrap up for that one, but I just was like really let down by that one. So this vlog was full of letdowns, I guess, but yeah, I wanted to share all my thoughts with you all. And I will pop in if I think of anything else that I want to share about my experience reading The House Across the Lake. Hello, so welcome back to my vlog. First of all, that thing's falling already. I have a glass of wine. This is some Cab from Costco because Eric and I made a trip to Costco the other day and stocked up on so many things that we need to, but we got this boxed wine just to save money because oftentimes we'll get bottles of wine but not go through them all. And so the boxed wine is nice because it's still good quality wine, but the air doesn't get to it, so it lasts so much longer. So got some Cab, which is my favorite kind of red wine. Absolutely love it. And he got some Pinot Grigio because he prefers white wine. So anyway, I have that with me tonight. But I wanted to give you all a little reading update. But before I do so, I wanted to say that I actually went and saw A24's new film, X. And I've been highly anticipating this film. First of all, I have a very love-hate relationship with A24 films because they always try to be elevated horror films, which sometimes really hit for me or really miss. It's more of an artsy take on horror, and also they're always trying to make underlying statements in their movies, and they just aim for a deeper horror movie than just surface level tropes. So a lot of times I really like it, and then some of their movies are just too out there for me to actually really enjoy. But this one, I really enjoyed it. I saw it with my friend in the theater, which was such a nice experience because I really haven't been to the theaters very much in recent years. And just going there and relaxing in these dream lounger seats and just enjoying this film on the big screen was so nice. Because, you know, I already knew since it was an A24 film that the cinematography was going to be very beautiful, and seeing that on the big screen just really transferred really well. So I enjoyed it a lot. I actually really liked all of the characters. So it's a slasher movie, but usually in slashers, a lot of the characters kind of follow these certain tropes or they make really stupid decisions. But all of the decisions that the characters made in this, for the most part, actually made a lot of sense. And you were actually sort of rooting for all of the characters. So I really enjoyed that about this. And just how it was filmed, it had that retro 70s kind of grainy look, which I really liked. And there were some shots. There's this specific shot that takes place in the water. I don't really want to give anything away. It's not really a spoiler, but there is a shot that takes place in the water that's from above, and it just looks so cool. So I wanted to mention that I saw it today, had a great time, and then I started going to the gym recently, my apartment gym. I'm saying this and I've only been like 2 times, but that's better than before because I've never really been a gym person, but I really want to start working out more and just giving myself more energy and just feeling more healthy. So I went tonight, which was really great. I had it all to myself, and so I did that, and then I did some errands, I cooked some dinner, and now I am sitting back down to actually finally film a clip. So what I wanted to say is I am starting my last book for this vlog, and it is the Mary Shelley Club, and I've actually had this on my TBR for a very long time, and this has been said to be a lot like Scream, and if you don't already know, I absolutely love the Scream franchise so much. I want to show you really quick. So I have 1 through 3 here on this DVD, and then I have 4 here, which is one of my very favorites. And so there is this artist over on Instagram, Katie Video. I will link all her information in my bio, but she specializes in doing arts for VHS tapes, which first of all, her art covers on them are so amazing. So I ordered the Scream 4 one that she put out. I know there's a bit of a glare, so I'm kind of turning it, but it's absolutely stunning. I'm really obsessed. And if you open it up, this is a blank tape. I don't have the equipment to transfer the DVD to a VHS tape. I hope to do that one day once we have room in our house and apartment, you know, to actually have a little retro TV. But it does have a blank tape, and she did put some artwork here. So it just looks so cool and retro, and I love it so much. And so I wanted to show that to you all. But anyway, about the Mary Shelley Club, I want to read the description for this one for you. So I have it pulled up on Goodreads. It says, new girl Rachel Chavez is eager to make a fresh start at Manchester Prep. But as one of the few scholarship kids, Rachel struggles to fit in, and when she gets caught up in a prank gone awry, she ends up with more enemies than friends. To her surprise, however, the prank attracts the attention of the Mary Shelley Club, a secret club of students with one objective: come up with the scariest prank to orchestrate real fear. But as the pranks escalate, the competition turns cutthroat and takes on a life of its own. When the tables are turned and someone targets the club itself, Rachel must track down the real-life monster in their midst, even if it means finally confronting the dark secrets from her past. So very early on in this, you learn that she is a final girl and has been intact the previous year. So she's kind of trying to move on from that, and she has turned to horror for comfort, which I really love that discussion because I've actually done the same in my life, just turning to horror for comfort. And I kind of want to do a whole video about that because I have anxiety, yet I love horror movies, and I've kind of analyzed it a ton, and I think I figured out why personally, me as someone with anxiety, why I turn to them a lot. And also I think it will resonate with a lot of people because I've talked to other people who feel the same way. But anyway, I am really enjoying this one so far. This is such a fast read. I'm already on page 100, and I started this in my sprints last night and read for about an hour today. So it's a very fast read. I really needed that after this month of just such low rated books, and I'm hoping to finish this really fast. And I will say it really does feel like Scream, which is super cool in a book because I've never read anything that captures the atmosphere and vibe of Scream so perfectly. So I really am enjoying this. I hope it stays as good as it is now. I'm loving all the references and discussion to horror movies also because I pretty much know all of the horror movies that are being mentioned. There's a few that I haven't seen, but for the most part I've seen them all. So I get all the references, and it's kind of fun to see a group of people nerd out over horror because I do that, and a lot of people in my life don't actually watch horror, and so it's really fun to read about a group of people who have each other to talk about horror with. So anyway, that's my update. I will keep you updated as I continue to read this. And really quick before I go, look at this little knife. I'm not sure if you can see, but it's actually an indentation on the actual cover, which is so cool. So I take off the dust jacket as I read, but I'm gonna put it back on so you all can see because the spine is so full. So it has this knife along the spine, and then I love the front as well. So anyway, that's my update. I'll talk to you all soon. Hello, so I actually finished the Mary Shelley Club the other night, and I wanted to give a wrap up. So I know I didn't film many of my thoughts while I was reading, and this mostly was because I read about half of it in a few short sittings, honestly more like 2 sittings, but then I read the second half in 1 sitting, which I usually don't do. I usually take longer to read books, but I was really enjoying this one, and I had to know what was going to happen. And so I actually set my Forest app up. I don't know if any of you have used that before, but my friend Jess from Reading with Jess actually was the first person to tell me about this app. but it's super nice because basically you get to set it up on your phone and you set your little timer for however long you want to focus on whatever you want to focus on, but I use it for reading. And basically, if you leave the app, your tree dies. And so you don't want your tree to die. So basically, I grew a tree for 25 minutes and I kept just doing that over and over with just a few little breaks. So it was almost like I was doing my own reading sprints, but just on my own. I had this really nice rainy ambiance. It was so relaxing, and my husband was working on composing near me. So it was really nice to just be in the same room and both be doing our own thing. And so I read pretty much for about 3 hours and I was able to finish the second half of the book. So it was a really fast read because it was YA. And I want to say that I really enjoyed the premise of this one. It was so much fun. I ended up giving it 4 stars. So it was my favorite book that I read on this vlog by far. And I really enjoy the aspect of sort of this secret club doing fear tests on people, where they would set up these elaborate pranks and try to scare people. Super unethical, but it was very entertaining to read about. I really liked the ending twist. And this whole time I was imagining the main character being Sydney Prescott from Scream. She just totally felt like Sydney, and even though obviously it wasn't Sydney, she just really seemed like her a lot, and this was obviously inspired by Scream. I will say YA, just the whole feel of YA isn't really my thing, in the way that it does get annoying to me when there's so much teenage angst focused on. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I remember being in that phase of my life and I definitely liked it a lot more when I was in that phase of my life. But just as of now, those aspects in YA books I don't care about as much, so I get a little bit sometimes tired of hearing about like these little crushes in high school and kind of all the relationship drama and everything that goes along with them, and also just hearing about just high school in general. So that was the one thing I didn't really particularly enjoy about the book. But I always keep reading YA because I feel like YA, they have some really amazing premises, and the parts that bother me about YA I can kind of set aside. And I overall really enjoyed this book. It did lull a little bit in the middle for me, and the plot twist wasn't super shocking. I mean, it sort of surprised me. There was multiple elements to the twist, like there usually is in thrillers. So the first element about the plot twist, I was like, okay, I can kind of see that. But then there was a second twist sort of tacked on that I really liked and thought was chilling. So I enjoyed my experience reading this one, and I really recommend it if you want to read something like Scream. It really did an amazing job capturing that atmosphere. I would say minus the whole meta aspect of it. This one definitely had a more serious tone throughout. And also there are so many references to horror movies, which I really enjoyed reading about. I will say, if you're not someone who has seen a ton of horror movies and doesn't like sort of little plot points being spoiled about horror movies, I would say maybe stay away from this book for now, because there were so many movies that it sort of did spoil a little aspect of it. But honestly, there were so many fast references that you'll probably forget it anyway. So I feel like I should have made a list of every single horror movie that was mentioned in this, because there were so many horror movie mentions. But yeah, that's my wrap up for the Mary Shelley Club. I hope you all give it a try. I really enjoyed it. And I had a really fun time reading this one. It was so nice. It kind of got me out of my reading slump, which was great. And it was so nice to read so long. I usually read for maybe an hour or 2, but I never really read for 3 or more hours. And so that was really inspiring. I also have been working out more, which has been really great. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm going to definitely make it part of my routine. I haven't filmed any vlog footage in there just of like showing my workout room, but I really should, because it's a nice workout room for an apartment complex, and I'm definitely going to be taking advantage of it. I honestly don't know why I haven't taken advantage of it sooner than now. So I'm definitely going to be doing that. Also, I haven't shared this kind of life update, but I'm so excited because my husband and I actually will be taking our first vacation, sort of like our first extended vacation since our honeymoon. We've done day trips here and there, but we haven't done like a full week somewhere. And we're going to Vegas, and we're sort of considering this like our 3-year anniversary trip. It's technically not our 3-year anniversary until July of 2022, but in about a month and a half, we're going to Vegas, and I'm so excited. I am so excited to have a vacation to look forward to. And so we've been sort of planning that throughout the past couple weeks, and we're just both so excited. And I will be filling you all in on more information on that. So I wanted to share it with you all. I hope you all are having a great week, and I will talk to you all very soon in my next video. Bye.